Before diving into this incredible story, remember to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Here, every story has something to say, and you won't want to miss a single one. New York, early afternoon. The sun beats down on the large windows of the Midtown Plaza shopping center, illuminating the luxury handbags and Christmas decorations already in place. In the flow of hurried shoppers, 25-year-old Emily Johnson, elegant but discreet, pushes open the door of the Luxor & Company flagship store. Her outfit is simple yet sophisticated, a beige coat, a silk scarf, and a black leather handbag. She smiles politely at the staff as she enters, unaware that her day is about to turn into a nightmare. Behind the counter, Tommy Harris, the store's security guard, notices her immediately. White, in his 50s, with an imposing build, his face etched with years of mistrust and arrogance, he frowns. For no apparent reason, he decides to follow her with his eyes. They linger on the color of her skin. An unjustified thought crosses his mind, another one who's going to try to steal from me. A few minutes later, Emily stopped near a shelf displaying luxury perfumes. Tommy approached abruptly. "Madam, open your bag. Now." Emily, surprised and confused, looks up. "Excuse me? I didn't do anything." But Tommy insists, his voice firm and accusatory. "I saw you touching some products. I'm not kidding. Open it." Customers turn around, some take out their phones to film. Emily feels her cheeks flush with shame, but she refuses to panic. She slowly opens her bag while the security guard searches her roughly, speaking loudly to attract attention. "That's how some people try to steal here." Emily remains silent, biting her lip to hold back her tears. Her dignity was trampled, and each word from the security guard landed like a blow. Yet, deep inside, a cold anger began to rise. She knew she had done nothing wrong, but the world around her seemed ready to condemn her on mere suspicion. When Tommy finally lets her go, after a few humiliating minutes that seemed to last an eternity, Emily leaves the store with a mixture of indignation and icy calm. Her footsteps echo in the mall lobby, and every customer who sees her knows they've witnessed an injustice. As she disappears behind the automatic doors, she doesn't yet know that this humiliation will be the beginning of a spectacular turnaround. Just one day will be enough for the security guard to realize that his actions have a price, and that nothing remains of his arrogance. The next morning, Emily Johnson woke up still shaken by the humiliation she had suffered the day before. The video of the security guard calling her a thief was already circulating on social media, filmed by customers who had been in the store. Comments ranged from support to outrage, but some internet users were shocked by how quickly the news had spread. Meanwhile, Michael Johnson, Emily's father and CEO of a publicly traded multinational corporation, is at his office when he receives an urgent call from the mall manager. The voice on the phone trembles slightly. "Mr. Johnson, yesterday, your daughter was accused of stealing from our store." Michael frowned, his heart pounding. "My daughter? Are you sure?" The manager confirmed it, explaining that a store security guard had accused her without reason and that he had filmed the scene to prove his security alert. Michael felt a simmering anger rising within him, but he maintained his professional composure. He hung up, his face expressionless. Emily, for her part, tries to focus on her work, but her mind is tormented by the public humiliation. She remembers the security guard's contemptuous look, his words that reduced her to a suspected thief. She decides not to remain passive, she wants justice to be served. A few hours later, Michael arrives at the mall, accompanied by his lawyer. Emily is waiting for him outside the store, her face calm but determined. When they enter together, the security guard, Tommy Harris, doesn't immediately recognize who is standing before him. His arrogant confidence crumbles when he sees Michael Johnson, the influential CEO he barely knew. Michael steps forward, his voice firm. "Mr. Harris, it seems you humiliated my daughter yesterday. Can you explain why?" Tommy, caught off guard, stammers out a few clumsy apologies, but Michael remains impassive. Emily, meanwhile, observes the scene with cold determination. Her dark eyes fix on the security guard, and behind her apparent calm, her anger is ready to erupt. The confrontation is about to begin. Michael and Emily already know that the security guard has made a fatal mistake, and that this mistake could cost him much more than a simple reprimand. Emily and her father, Michael Johnson, enter the store accompanied by the family lawyer. The atmosphere is tense. Customers who recognize Michael whisper amongst themselves, some discreetly taking out their phones. Tommy Harris, the security guard, is at the counter and sees Emily and her father approach. His face pales. "Mr. Harris," Michael began, his voice icy but controlled, "it seems you behaved very inappropriately towards my daughter yesterday. Can you explain what happened?" Tommy tries to smile, but the mask of arrogance immediately falls away. Mr. Johnson, I was just doing my job." Emily advances slowly, calmly, her gaze fixed on the security guard. Every word she utters echoes through the store. "You humiliated me in front of dozens of customers, accusing me of theft when I hadn't done anything. You insulted me, pushed me, and exposed me to public shame, all because of the color of my skin." Some of the customers present begin to murmur, some nodding in support. Michael's lawyer intervenes. "We have video evidence of the incident, and it clearly shows that your accusation was unfounded." Tommy, panicked, tries to defend himself. I had my doubts. I thought that she. But he breaks off, unable to find the words. His apologies sound hollow and ridiculous. Michael, still calm but threatening. "You not only broke store rules, but you also broke the law by discriminating against my daughter. You are suspended immediately and an official investigation has been launched." The security guard feels the ground give way beneath his feet. His arrogant confidence has vanished. The customers watch, some filming, others whispering about justice finally being served. Emily takes a deep breath, feeling a wave of relief but also pride. She knows this moment is only the beginning of justice. She turns to her father. "Thank you for coming, Dad. I knew I couldn't let this go." Michael looks at her with admiration. "You were brave, Emily. And believe me, that security guard will understand that no one can humiliate my daughter with impunity." The tension in the store is palpable. The security guard, publicly humiliated in turn, realizes that his behavior has very real consequences. Emily, however, remains dignified and strong, ready to see the situation resolved completely. Security guard Tommy Harris can no longer hide his panic. Store management has summoned him to a meeting room, where he is confronted by several senior executives as well as the Johnson family's lawyer. Surveillance footage and videos filmed by customers are projected onto a large screen. Every gesture, every humiliating word is clearly visible. "Mr. Harris," the manager began firmly, "your behavior toward this customer is unacceptable. You violated our security protocols and, even more seriously, you discriminated against a person based on their skin color." Tommy tries to justify himself. I just wanted to make sure there was no theft." But his excuse falls flat. The director shakes his head. "We have evidence. You are suspended immediately, and we are launching a formal investigation." Soon after, videos of the incident went viral on social media. The hashtags #JusticeForEmily and #GuardHumiliation quickly spread, and thousands of people expressed their outrage. Tommy, once so self-assured, saw his reputation ruined in a matter of hours. His friends and colleagues began to avoid him, and his phone rang incessantly with calls from newspapers and news channels. Emily, meanwhile, is receiving numerous messages of support. Her colleagues, friends, and even strangers are expressing their admiration for her dignity and courage in the face of humiliation. Each message reminds her that her calm and measured reaction was more powerful than anger or revenge. The security guard, humiliated and now unemployed, realizes that his arrogance led to his downfall. He has lost all credibility, his job, and public shame follows him everywhere. Even his family is starting to blame him for his behavior. Emily and her father left the store that day with their heads held high. She knew it wasn't just a personal victory, but a reminder to all those who thought fear and humiliation could control others. "The most important thing, Dad," said Emily, smiling slightly, "is to remain dignified. Justice always prevails in the end." Michael placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "Exactly. And that security guard will never forget this lesson." The security guard's fall is complete. He now remains alone with his shame, while Emily, strong and proud, continues her life, aware that her dignity and courage have triumphed over injustice. A few weeks after the incident, Tommy Harris, the security guard, tries to return to normal life, but everything seems to be slipping away. Videos of his humiliating behavior continue to circulate on social media. Local media outlets pick up the story, labeling him a racist and disrespectful security guard. His reputation is irreparably damaged, and he receives constant threats and criticism. Even neighboring shops now refuse to employ him. Emily, for her part, continues her life serenely. She regularly returns to the mall, not out of revenge, but to show that she won't be intimidated. Every time she passes the store where she was humiliated, she receives admiring glances and smiles from customers who know her story. One day, Emily receives an unexpected message from a former colleague of Tommy's. He regrets everything he did. He finally understands that no one can humiliate someone with impunity. But Emily knows that some lessons can only be learned through pain and shame. She calmly replies, "Dignity cannot be bought, it is lived." The security guard is now left alone with his regrets, unable to repair his ruined reputation. He understands too late that his arrogance and racism have isolated him. Revenge, in reality, was not active, it occurred silently, through Emily's justice and dignity. Michael Johnson watches his daughter with pride. "You showed more courage and strength than I could have imagined." Emily smiled, but her eyes reflected the gravity of the experience. "Sometimes, Dad, the best revenge is to stay true to yourself and let the world see the truth." The shopping center resumed its normal operations, but the story remains in people's minds as an example of courage in the face of injustice and of justice ultimately prevailing. The security guard lost everything, but Emily and her father gained much more, the certainty that dignity and inner strength can never be broken. And so, in a world where injustice sometimes seems to prevail, truth and courage remain the most powerful weapons.